Louisiana Senator John Kennedy. Senator, thanks for being here this morning. It's always good to have you on the program.
Thanks, Sandra.
You took initially a wait-and-see approach to the president's proposals on these tariffs. Where do you stand today?
I'm still waiting and seeing. A couple of points. Number one, I don't think any person should be surprised. The president, even before he was president, talked about the trade imbalances that we have with many countries. Whether you agree with him or not, this isn't something he just dreamed up. Number two, I've suggested to my colleagues that before we all get lubed up, let's wait and see what the president actually does. And we don't have that fact yet. Number three, I think the president understands, I hope he does, that the real problem, at least in terms of steel, for example, is China. China, in terms of steel and generally in terms of trade, China is eating our lunch and the sack it came in. Now, I don't mean any disrespect, but China cheats. This problem with steel prices started 2 years ago, really before that, but it started in earnest 2 years ago. The economy in China slowed. China produces half the world's steel. Rather than doing what a capitalist society would do and say, okay, we're going to dial it back and we're going to have to downsize, China kept on going and they just started exporting their product. And the price fell through the floor. Half of the overcapacity in steel is a result of China, and we need to call China's hand.
And China is the focus of the president, and we're getting word now from the White House that they seem to be, and the president seems to be open to exemptions from products coming from Canada and Mexico and some other U.S. allies. So when you say we don't know the details, we really don't know the details till they're formally announced. But this will all happen fast, right, Senator? Because
yes,
these tariffs have to be implemented within 15 days of them formally being announced by the president. That time period could give others time to step in and request exemptions. Are you in support of this sort of plan from the president, if that is what it is?
I think the president would be prudent to get tough with China. I'm going to say it again, no disrespect, but China cheats. And what you allow is what will continue. I hope that he won't punish our allies. He's right about there being a steel glut, and that fact hurts our people. But I don't want to punish the innocent along with the guilty.
Are you concerned about the unintended consequences here at home, though, Senator?
Sure.
I mean, even Republicans are speaking out about the rising cost to the consumer and the rising cost to manufacturers in this country that use these commodities.
Well, yes. I mean, trade is complicated. You have to consider not only the impact as a result of the tariffs on your country, but you have to consider the impact of the tariffs on other countries and how, if at all, they're going to reciprocate. And a tariff is really a tax. It will raise the price of steel for many people who use steel. Now, I'm not saying that's altogether bad if those tariffs are targeted to try to change misbehavior. And again, I think the genesis of this problem is China. And that's where I hope the president targets his firepower.
And perhaps these exemptions will allow him to focus on just that. So if you could design the announcement that we are about to see hours from now from this president, what would you be the biggest fan of this president announcing this afternoon?
I would like to see the president as a first step saying, look, I believe in free trade. We all do. And I think America pretty much plays by the rules. But some countries don't. And our friends in China are not playing by the rules on steel. We've had enough. We're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore. And they're going to stop, and we're going to put up a tariff. They're responsible for 50% of the overcapacity, and we're going to start with China.
It's fascinating to watch politically, because you've got Democrats in some area of this country who have to stick up for those manufacturers who feel that these tariffs will raise prices, and it is going to be something to watch, Senator. Meanwhile, I want to ask you about this net neutrality bill that you are introducing to prohibit internet providers from blocking or slowing content. What is its aim?
Well, everybody in the Senate that I talk to on both sides of the aisle says the same thing. We need to do a bill. We need to move a bill. There's just one problem. Nobody wants to step forward. So I basically took Representative Blackburn's bill from the House, made a few small changes, and I put it out there in the Senate. It stops throttling. It would prohibit blocking. It leaves paid prioritization open because that's something we need to negotiate. It would preempt the states, so we would have one national standard. You know, the wing nuts, the extremes on both sides won't like it, but I think a lot of people will. It doesn't mean I've made up my mind on the CRA because I haven't.
All right.
But we've got to start somewhere, and everybody's just talking instead of doing.
Okay. Well, you are introducing that net neutrality bill. Senator, thank you so much for being here this morning. It's always good to see you.